Another common problem with the E60, E90, and other models is that the wood dash trim is cracking. This one's pretty bad. And it's unfortunate because this material is very expensive. It's the popular wood in this model. And it's both on the console where the shifter is, as well as the dash trim on the right side, the long piece. So for this video, I'm going to replace it. Now there are options for replacing this. You can replace it with aftermarket carbon fiber and other materials, but I'm going to try to match it up with the original material. Now with wood or any natural material such as leather, it's almost impossible to match it up exactly. So you want to try to, make sure that you compare the VIN number and so forth to at least get the proper hue or family within the color scheme so that it matches up as close as possible. Now we're going to start by removing the dash trim that's over the glove compartment, and to do this, this piece has a tab on the right hand side, and that's where you begin to remove it. Once the tab is removed, or rather loosened on the right side, you'll then pull out on the piece. Be very careful, particularly if you plan to salvage this in any way, cover it with the die knock material and so forth. You don't want to do too much damage because it is wood and it's delicate. So I recommend that you use a plastic, or at least cover your screwdriver with tape prior to removing it. This one will likely not be salvaged, so I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just going to stick the screwdriver in place and pop out the trim. Okay. And from there, I'm going to pull out on it all the way across toward the left. So as you pull toward the left, you're going to use your screwdriver and ever so lightly pry the sections loose. Be real careful, you don't want to damage your trim here, but as you go across, you'll hear the various connectors pop loose. So just take your time. Be sure to wrap your screwdriver. Use a towel to wedge the screwdriver so that you don't damage this section. And work your way toward the left as you work it loose. So I used this towel and I wedged it against the dash as I pried, as to not put too much pressure on the vinyl. And after a while, you'll have enough space to work your hand behind the trim. At that point, you can pull straight out and it should pop right out. So just take your time, make sure it's loose all the way across, just enough to get your hand to the back of it, so your fingers rather to the back of it, and pull straight out, and it'll pop right out. Now once the trim piece is dislodged, you're not going to pull it all the way out. Be very careful because it's connected to a cable that controls the vent, okay? And the cable is behind here. So don't pull too hard. You're going to remove the two bolts on both sides of the center vent, and that's going to disconnect the vent from the trim piece. In addition to the two bolts, on the bottom section you'll find a T15 star bit that will need to be removed, as well as a group of tabs along the bottom that will need to be disengaged. Now you'll use a screwdriver to pry the tabs loose, and that's the final step that holds the trim to the vent unit.